It is Lynn Mavrakis. And Lynn's topic is going to be, who are we? If she can handle that, most of us have been searching for that answer our whole lives. We'll have a miracle on her hands. You're interested in people and where did you come from? So let's give a warm welcome to Lynn on who are we?
Who are we? Are we the greatest generation? Are we baby boomers? Are we Generation X? Perhaps we're Generation Y. I understand now there's a Generation Z. I'm not sure where it's going to go after that. Maybe we don't need to know. These categories and these titles come from the year in which we were born and how we interact during our formative years with our environment. The Pew Charitable Trust has a wonderful research arm. And interestingly enough, and by coincidence, there have been about 3 articles that have come out of that just recently. And it has also been on the news dealing with some part of that generation span. It's something that seems to be of interest, special interest to us these days. And in looking at the whole span of it, what I want to do is touch on several of them very lightly and then take a closer look at one of the generations. I dare say that all, perhaps without Generation Z, are represented in this group. Now that's quite an age span. That is quite an age span, which is the big challenge that we have today to deal with that. The information, the material on it, it's just a lodestone. It just is so much information. It just keeps coming and coming. The greatest generation consists of people born before 1945. And one of their characteristics is that they kept their nose to the grindstone. We know how hard they worked. We're quite familiar with that. The baby boomers have been called the Great Tsunami. There are 80 million of them today. It's a huge group, huge age group. Generation X was born 1946 to 1964. They were the first latchkey kids. They worked hard. They liked structure. And they're a smaller group. They're only 50 million of that group. The next group, the one I want to look at more closely, is Generation Y. It's a little bit puzzling because there's such variety in there. These people were born between 1985 and 1995. They enjoy, or perhaps are challenged by, a lower standard of living than their parents. As a result of that, 1 in 4 still live at home or have gone back home. 1/3 of them, 13% of them were unemployed as of January of this year. It's a very high percent, very high. They're an interesting group because of, for one thing, the ethnic variety that exists within them. They are 1 in 4, I'm mixing that up, 4 in 10. 4 in 10 are of Oriental, Asian, or Latino descent. 4 in 10 say that they are not particularly described by the word patriotic. That doesn't mean they're anti-patriotic. They just say this doesn't fit me too well. They're an interested and involved group. There is a cluster of them, about 4 in 10, who say they are not affiliated formally with a particular religion, and yet they're quite a moral group. They get more liberal as they get older. And that causes some discomfort within that group of people and with some of the other generations. 5 out of 10 support gay marriage. 50% of them are supportive of gay rights. And that's an arena that is very uncomfortable for a lot of people. This group, this generation Y, is confident, competent, social, pragmatic, streetwise. And the thing about them that so impresses me is the fact that they see themselves as members in a global community. And that's not just through the media. There's a sense of identification among these people with the rest of the world. And I think they touch on something that I find lacking in the other groups. What we've done is put labels on age groups. It's a lot more than that, though. This doesn't get at what lies in the human heart. And I'm speaking in metaphors here. The human heart, I believe, defines what we are, essentially. And I believe that is that we are people capable of love. Agape is what the Greeks called it. Charity. Those things that let us connect across the generations, across the different races, across the globe, with each other. It may be pie in the sky to think that all of that can happen, that we can have a world based on agape, love for fellow human beings. It may be pie in the sky, but perhaps not. There's really not much that stops us, regardless of the generation that we come from. And I have high hopes that as we continue to evolve socially and in all sorts of ways, that we can reach that state and understand what we really can be.